Hey guys, how's it going? It's kind of a little bit of an early morning out here in the shop today. We finally got a weekend off from work and gonna try to get some stuff done this morning. Got it kind of mocked up yesterday just to try to see how all that's gonna fit. I think it'll work out pretty good. Need to cut out those brackets down there for the old hand crank starter on the old motor. Then I think that radiator will drop right in and we can mount it up to the stock radiator mount holes. So that should work out pretty good. Trying to figure out how I'm going to get exhaust, steering, and brakes all through this little area right here. So I'm thinking if I can mount this booster far forward and just thinking about turning it around and running it the other way. I'm making like some bell crank stuff to work the brakes, because the way that the stock brake pedal works is when you push on it, the rod goes forward. So you'd have to build some sort of lever to reverse that forward motion to a backward motion and turn the brakes around and do all that. It's gonna be tricky. It's gonna be tricky, so I think that's what we're gonna do today, is just look and scheme and try to figure out how all that stuff's gonna fit. Alright, so I took a piece of the old exhaust just to be able to kind of set it in there. Just to see how much room it's going to take up in that area. Then I went to grab the brake pedal to see where it needs to mount and kind of where it's going to be situated. And I remembered we've got to whittle a pedal off of here. We'll take it over to the bench and kind of tear it apart, see how it all works and fits together, and then try to figure out if there's a way that we can put it in there that orients it to the best spot for what we need. So I'm going to try to unbolt this clutch pedal and just get it out of the way. Try to do that to a bolt off a 2001 Ford F-150. That thing would have broke off in a heartbeat. Crazy. Huh. Interesting. So just had some keyways for that arm and the pedal to hook to so that it didn't spin. wonder if that's just supposed to be 3/4 inch. Ooh. So we got these bushings, some of these steel bushings that I'm going to use as spacers. I'm at least going to want one over here. Alright, let's go see how that fits. Let's go see how that fits in here. Now that we got some stuff out of the way. I think I want to make it, how good you can see that. I think I want to make the brake pedal come down just off to the side of the transmission there. So it's pretty much just going to need to be centered in that bracket as far as that goes. Another problem we're having is this pedal here is hitting that bolt head. So it's not letting the pedal come all the way up to give this the travel. So it's not letting that pedal come all the way up to give this the travel that it needs to have the push to run the brakes. She's getting her done with the rain. Big drops. That dog likes the rain. So I'll show you where that's hitting on that bolt head. See, when that pedal, instead of letting it come all the way up, it's hitting that bolt head there, when it should be able to go clear up to there, because that pedal's not supposed to be right on that bolt head. So I think where that's built up, we can just cut that off and try to recess that bolt head in there just a little bit more to let this pedal get its motion. But that cut a little over 1/4 inch off, so more than the thickness of the bolt head. So hopefully that's enough to give us the range of motion. Guess we gotta put the pedal back on and test it. So we're just barely missing that bolt head for this pedal to move. I'm gonna pull the pedal off and just kind of clearance that middle part of the pedal so that it has room to get around that bolt head. yeah. Now we've got clearance. Let's like come all the way up past. Just what the doctor ordered. Got that put back in there. Got ample range of motion now. There's plenty of throw on there to work our brakes the way we need to. So, good to go on that. Next is our steering column. So, this has this little saddle that cradles the steering column. Luckily, this is the same diameter radius as our steering column is. The problem is with the tilt steering column that we got, where it has the tilt and the blinker switch and all that stuff, because it's modeled after that Chevy van style steering column. So with that tilt, the steering tilt, I measured for a steering column, ordered the correct length that I needed. Well, I didn't take into account that was going to be positioned different. So we've got to build a drop bracket for this steering bracket mount that brings this down and in a little bit so that we can accommodate for the space that the steering tilt takes up. Because otherwise, if we just hook it up like this, then our steering column doesn't pass through the floor, which is not a good thing. So that's the next thing, is to get the steering column mounted where it needs to be and takes up its allotted amount of space. Fun thing that they did back in the day was they used flathead screws for a lot of things. Well, this is no exception. And they're stuck pretty good. They're stuck tight. Oh, it doesn't even want to try. I think I'm just gonna have to get in there and cut the heads off of those, because 2 bolts isn't worth wasting 30 minutes of time to try to maybe get them undone. Alright, so I took this bracket that we just cut the bolts off of, set her on here, traced out the shape, the size, and where these little slotted holes are. So basically what I'm going to do, chop this out, and then I'll take some bolts and bolt this up underneath where it needs to go. So we'll chop this out, get it bolted into place, and then we can have, you know, this, hold this where we need to with the steering column, try to figure out what we need to do as far as building pieces that go from this to here. I'm just using some tie wire to kind of hold this thing kind of in place where I think it needs to be, and then we'll have to fine tune it from there, but at least then we can get it close with brackets and upper bracket and that. Shift linkage is going to be interesting because the brake pedal right between the area where it would normally go, so that'll be fun to figure out. You know, one thing I didn't think about is the steering wheel. I was planning on using the stock one, but this shaft is splined, and I'm pretty sure that that one's going to be a taper with a keyway, so that'll be interesting. So I'm going to take a piece of tape, and use it to hold this bracket kind of where I want it on here. I think right about there will work. Do a little bring down to there and hook it all together. Alright, so I got my other plate made. So now I got to build some sort of little bracket to hook those together. Probably something like that. Alright, so I got a little piece of sheet metal cut out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it up here, tack it across the top, and then just gently work it in on that contour as I go, and then weld it in on the bottom. I don't think it came up too bad. Put a little paint on her and get her bolted in. Alright, what a morning. Ended up having a buddy call me. Had a short in his, what was it, fuel pump wire on his truck. Went and fixed that. Went and picked up another steering U-joint from another friend. Decided that, well, maybe I'll try to get some bolts and stuff for a linkage for the shifter. Drove all over town. I went to 7 different stores. Nobody has. Need a 5/16 by 24 left-hand thread bolt to get the adjustable linkage, and nobody has it. They've got the nuts, they've got everything, but except for the bolt. So gonna have to figure something else for that out. But right now we're plugging along, trying to get this stuff is the time-consuming stuff when you're building. Not my favorite. I enjoy the figuring out the puzzle and all that stuff, but the running uptown that takes 2 hours to look for one bolt, I hate it. So anyways, I think we've got enough stuff to get ourselves in trouble now, but we're just gonna, I only got a few more minutes of time this morning. Be back out here tonight, I'm sure, but